Sporazum o stabilizaciji i pridruživanju koji ima BiH najbolji do sada ponuđen zemljama u procesu pridruživanja, izjavio je za Pečat šef delegacije Evropske unije u Bosni i Hercegovini Lars-Gunnar Wigemark. Sporazum o trgovini do sada su morale da potpišu sve članice i Bosna i Hercegovina ne može biti izuzetak, kaže Wigemark. Tvrdi da sporazum neće nanijeti štetu domaćoj poljoprivredi, već da je to prilika za izvoz. Namjera Evropske unije, kaže, nije da oslabi domaću proizvodnju, već da je ojača.
Mr. Wigemark, the EU farmers receive much higher subsidies than their colleagues in Bosnia and Herzegovina. How can domestic production survive the open market?
What we are ready to do and what we are already trying to do as European Union is to work with your farmers, work with your whole agricultural sector here. We want to strengthen it. We don't want to undermine it. Unfortunately, right now, because you do not have a common strategy for agriculture in this country, it's been caught up, I'm sorry to say, in the usual state entity struggle, shall we say. But from our perspective, this has nothing to do with competencies, and I don't think it has anything to do with competencies. It's about having a strategy.
What do you think? What do you mean by common strategy of agriculture? Does it mean we will have to establish a new institution like a new Ministry of Agriculture on a state level?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yes.
The whole EU process does not mean centralization. Just like improved coordination, which is necessary perhaps to have a strategy, does not mean centralization either. What it means is that you sit down, maybe around a table, and you discuss what your different needs are, what your priorities are, specific priorities for different regions, entities, cantons, for the entire country. And then find a common set of priorities you can present to us, to the European Union. That is one of our requirements. We require this for all our partners.
I ask that because domestically there are always feared about the transfer of authority. So it wouldn't be nothing like that.
No.
Okay.
I'm fully aware of that discussion. I can say to you very clearly, nowhere do we as European Union require the establishment of a Ministry of Agriculture. And we do not want to undermine your agriculture. On the contrary, we want to strengthen it. I'd like to give one very specific example, which is also now one of the areas that's being discussed as part of the adaptation. That's milk and dairy, which is a major sector, of course. Here, last September, there was a real breakthrough when your farmers, some of your dairy establishments here, 4 or 5 of them to begin with, met the health standards to start to export milk and dairy, including cheese and butter and so on, to the European Union. That led to a significant increase end of last year in your exports. And your farmers, and in particular your authorities responsible for these health standards, should now continue to work, I think, on this. For instance, when it comes to poultry, chicken, when it comes to eggs, when it comes to other products, including meat products, in order to be able to take advantage of trading more, not less, with the European Union. And if you have a common strategy, and if we can count on the cooperation from all authorities, in particular the authorities here in Republika Srpska, we can give you also financial support of different kinds. Right now, every day, your people, your farmers, are losing support because there is no common strategy and there's a general unwillingness to work with these IPA funds.
The negotiations are finished. When will the agreement be signed?
I think this agreement needs to be reached as soon as possible. Why? You have now submitted an application for membership of the European Union. That application is likely to be considered by the Council of the European Union, that is the member states, in July. And then they will decide whether or not to ask the European Commission to develop an analysis and pose a set of questions to you, to BIH, this famous questionnaire that people are talking about. So there's a real window to do that. If it doesn't happen this summer, I'm afraid it will slip until the end of the year or until early next year. And as you know, things always happen, changes do take place,
Yes.
and it may be even more difficult.
How realistic are expectations of local politicians that Bosnia and Herzegovina will receive a questionnaire of European Commission in the beginning of 2017?
Well, as I said, in terms of the timing, if these decisions, in particular the adaptation on trade, but also the so-called coordination mechanism, and continued reforms as part of the reform agenda, if that all continues,
Yes.
and I think on the reform agenda things are moving in the right direction, if these pieces fall into place by July, which would require that by early June agreements are in place that can then be formalized and,
Yes.
and applied, I see no reason why this questionnaire cannot come even earlier than January 2017.